want to go ahead and get back into what the fuck I was trying to do. And it's like today's pretty much my story time day. So I'll go ahead and get into the mention of demons and the fact that at times you will have fucked up dreams, okay? You will. And now, granted, this was an experience for me. I had a dream about a certain group, the Finders group, if you've ever been interested in that conspiracy theory, in which I haven't. Back then, I saw probably one video of them before I actually had the dream, but then I didn't realize that the dream actually had a correspondence with them whenever it came to, hold up, get my cat out of the room because whenever it comes to my altar, which I got back there, it's like I have a quill and he sees the feather and he wants to fuck with the feather. So that's pretty much why I was like, okay, you got to be excavated from the room for a little bit. But other than that, I'll go ahead and get into the Finders group. And as to what my dream mentioned, I'm going to exclude some details because it was pretty fucking morbid. Uh, and honestly, I'm just going to go ahead and get into the six children, of which it was previously portrayed whenever it came to the conspiracy, if you look that up. Reason why is because in the dream, I saw those same exact fucking pictures of those kids. Okay? And I saw six chairs under a bridge. And now, that I'm going to go ahead and back away from now as for the details of that. But then it went into another section of the dream in which there was three guys. Now, granted, whenever it came to the video which I saw, it just mentioned two guys of which were caught. But for some reason, I'm having a feeling that there was a third person there, in which that would explain some things whenever it comes to the inconsistencies as to how the fucking, Finders group found out that their own fucking members got arrested was because there was a third person. And that third person wasn't present at the time, but pretty much already had to mention that I'm just not going to go too deep into that, but you get the idea. Uh, what other things can I mention about dreams? Is that I'll go ahead and get into further details as to another dream. There was a dream that I had that there was a spaceship. Okay, it was a disc in which had a cross section like this and a circle around like this, and then it had another plate within it, of which it was a full plate. The other was just a ring, almost like Saturn. And I actually painted that one time whenever it came to one of my portraits, which I had. And then it showed up to me again in the vision whenever I was connecting to ancestors, in which that was very fucking fascinating. Whenever it just came in my mind and I actually saw it, it was actually almost like a rainbow type coloring around the ring. And then the metal plate was just a solid, like, I don't know, like a foil. The only thing is the foil wasn't crooked at all. It was just very smooth, like foil, but it was pretty much the color of it. And that's shit. And also, I got a lot of this shit written down as well. It's like I'm trying to find one that's actually gonna tickle some shit. I got some right now. I could go ahead and get into some further ritualistic workings of which I have practiced. And I don't know if I mentioned this on my YouTube channel per se. I don't think I ever had. I think I probably deleted the video probably twice or something. Whenever I did bring in both angels and demons into the same working, in which if there is a video like that on my channel, please point it out to me so that way I can delete it. That way I can give just a more concise way of saying it. But what I've noticed whenever I brought two opposing forces within the workings itself is that you bounce around between them. Why I mean that is that you'll encompass energy of, the demon in which you brought in at first, or angel, whoever you brought in first is the energy of which you're going to be encompassing. And then whenever you encompass another, you're going to be bouncing to their energy. But then you focus your attention onto another, you just bounce around, da 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 da. Then you begin finding a middle point between that just shifting in current. And now, granted, I did this with Michael and Lucifer. Now, granted, with Lucifer, I actually asked permission first, and he said it was okay as long as it was done through consecrated items in which the currents can be brought together without them actually having to be personally involved with one another's presence. And I did that through two triangles in order to contain the energy of the consecrated items in which I had. For instance, there was a gift I had from a friend of which I consecrated under Michael's name. then there was a pendant of which I kept, in which I consecrated under Lucifer's name, and that was how I managed to get those currents together. And the whole point is that I had two triangles pointing towards the circle in which I stood in. Okay, that way it was encompassing where I was standing whenever I was feeling that. And the one thing I would note about after it was done was that it was a very subtle aftershock. It wasn't an aftershock that like fucking, I don't know, blasted you away. It was just a very subtle like alien feeling. It was like that was so fucking odd, just combining those two. It was strange, but that's the best I can describe it for that dude premise of how that worked. But whenever it came to whenever it was actually happening, they were convening and talking with me, and they were specifically questioning as to why I brought those two together. And now, granted, this is something which came, and it came from the heart, of which I pretty much was conveying from at the time, in which it just came out, and I pretty much said we were never separate. And at the time of which I said that, it affected me emotionally quite a lot. And afterwards, I was literally stuck in the headspace as to what the fuck had happened whenever after I was done with it. In which the aftershock lasted about 30 minutes, an hour, probably two. And I didn't exactly keep a fucking time limit on it, but that was the extent of what was involved. And so that's pretty much the little tales and shit I mentioned whenever it comes to what I experienced, what I had from a dream, the fact that it corresponded to an event of which I didn't even fucking realize, a conspiracy of all things it actually related to, and just my workings on actually combining the two opposing energies together and what that was like. And I'll go ahead and see if there's any other videos I posted this under and see if I actually posted the same video, just this time I'm doing it more concisely, just to make it more understandable and conveyable.